Today we're going to look at how we can use the area model for multiplication, and this is called the distributive property. So to begin, we're going to take a look at a rectangle, just one rectangle, and talk about finding the area and the perimeter of this rectangle. Now remember, the area of a rectangle is base times height, or length times width. If you think of the base as the bottom of the rectangle and the height, like how tall it is, you want to multiply 5 times x to find the area. Now, you can write that like this, 5 and then a dot x, or we don't even need the dot. You can just write 5x, and that's the area of the rectangle because we don't know the base or the length of the rectangle, so we're calling it x. For the perimeter, what you need to do is label all the sides of the rectangle because perimeter is the distance around the rectangle. So if this side is 5, then the side opposite also has to be 5. If this side is x, the opposite side has to also be x. So now, if I were to add all these together, it would be 5 plus x plus 5 and plus x. But a shorter way to write this would be to put your ones together. So notice that 5 plus 5 is 10. And x plus x, that gives you 2 x's. And remember, that's the commutative property, which says I can move my 5's and my x's around because it's all addition. So we're going to use this idea to simplify an expression by finding the area inside a rectangle using base times height. So here's an example. We call this a generic rectangle because it's just draw a rectangle. And we're going to find the area if the height is 6 and the base is x plus 3. So first of all, the height is how tall it is, so I'm going to put a 6 there. The base is the length at the bottom, so that's an x plus 3. Now I want to find the area inside the rectangle. So really, it's like this, 6 times x plus 3, because that's base times height. But I want to get rid of the parentheses. I don't want it to look that way. I want to simplify it so that I don't have parentheses. And so I'm going to find the area inside the rectangle. Remember from the last video that when you see a plus sign on the bottom, I can draw a line dividing up that rectangle. Now I have 2 rectangles inside the larger rectangle. The area of the rectangle on the left is 6 times x, or 6x. The area to the right inside is 6 times 3, or 18. So if I want to write the area of the entire rectangle, I need to put the 6x together with the 18. Now I can't combine x's with 1's, and so I'm just going to write it like that. I have 6 x's plus 18. So this is the same as that, except for it's maybe a little easier to understand that I just have 6 x's and I have 18 1's. And so notice I've simplified it and I don't have parentheses. So let's practice this again. It says find the area of each rectangle, which means use the distributive property to rewrite each expression without parentheses. So again, when you see this, think of this as the height, and that is the base, 4 times x plus 5. So the height is 4, the base is x plus 5. So again, when I see my plus sign, I'm going to draw a line dividing up the inside of that rectangle. Now I can find the area of the 2 parts inside the rectangle. So the rectangle on the left, I would have to do 4 times x, or 4x. The rectangle on the right, I would do 4 times 5, which is just 20. So to rewrite this expression without parentheses means that I'm going to take this area and add it to that area because that will give me the area of the entire rectangle. So the expression would be 4x plus 20. Now let's try this next one. Again, it's 5 times 6 plus x. So that tells me that if I'm using a generic rectangle, my height is 5, my base is 6 plus x. So I'm going to draw a line where I see my plus sign. And the rectangle to the left, I have to do 5 times 6 to find the area, which is really just 30. And the rectangle on the right, I have to do 5 times x, which is just 5x. So to simplify this expression, I just take the two areas that I have and I add them together. 30 plus 5x. And again, that's as simplified as I can get because I cannot combine 1's with x's. Now this next one's a little different, but still pretty easy. When it's 4 times 2x plus 3, again, I can just make my height 4, and the base is 2x plus 3. I see my plus sign, so I'm going to draw a line dividing up that rectangle. Now, the only difference in this problem is that you're doing 4 times 2x. Now, if you think about that, what that means is I have 2 x's plus 2 more x's plus 2 more x's plus 2 more x's. That's 4 groups, or 4 of those, right? So if I have 2 x's plus 2 more plus 2 more plus 2 more, how many x's is that? That's going to give me 8 x's. So really you're just doing 4 times 2 to get 8. Now, the area of the rectangle on the right is just 4 times 3. And that'll give you 12. So to simplify this expression, we get 8 x's plus 12. Now you try this one. Again, the height is 8, the base is going to be 4 plus 3x. So I'll help you set up the rectangle. The height is 8, the base is 4 plus 3x. Now we draw a line dividing up the inside of the rectangle. Now you find the areas and then write down that simplified expression. And then type in your answer in Edpuzzle. Now for this next one, the only difference with this problem is notice there is a subtraction sign. So I know that my height is 7, so I'll label my rectangle with a height of 7. The base is 3x minus 2. The problem is I have that minus sign and I need it to be a plus sign. And so to change that, we just think about what we know about subtraction. Subtraction, you change it to adding the opposite. And so now instead of a 2, it's a negative 2. So again, you want to change that subtraction sign so it is an addition sign. So now I can draw my line where I see that plus sign. To the left, I'm going to do 7 times 3x, which will just give me 21x. And to the right, I'm going to do 7 times negative 2, which is negative 14. And so now if I add those two areas that I got, it's just 21x plus negative 14. Now try this last one on your own by drawing your own rectangle, labeling the base and the height, and then finding the areas and simplifying the expression. When you're finished, write in your answer in Edpuzzle. So now that you're done with the video, what you're going to do is in your packet, you'll notice there is a practice sheet that you're going to work on. And there are no rectangles made for you on that sheet except for some at the end. So what you need to do is take out your math notebook or an extra sheet of paper. You need to draw those rectangles on your scratch paper or in your notebook and then write in your answers on the worksheet. When you're done with the worksheet, raise your hand and let me check it.